In the previous video, we did this book detail page, remember, that had search results from the Google Books API, and we could click on it. It would change this parameter here, the book ID parameter, and then it's going to fetch the new book detail for this parameter. So if we click on this here, you can see that it refreshes the book page with that specific book that we have selected. And this all happens without destroying the component or creating the component again. So how does this happen? Well, we use the http resource API, as you remember. The http resource is a reactive API, which means that if you specify a signal inside of that, a value of a signal is going to get tracked. And whenever this book ID changes as an input, as it was doing in this example, it's going to refetch the http resource, and we are going to have a very nice reactive flow while keeping the code really concise and simple as well. But there was a problem. Some comments I got on the previous video were that a lot of Angular developers, they're not used to actually keeping the URLs for the API endpoints in their components. And that's really understandable because I do it myself. I want to keep these separate and I want to encapsulate them in a separate service. So how do we do that for our book detail example? Well, to do that first, we'll have to understand about the two different types of services that we can have. Okay, so let's just go back to the drawing board. So we can have a service which is just a data access layer. And this is sort of the most common implementation type that I see in Angular projects. And this is that we have only functions in the service to get data from the API. Usually it's using the HTTP client, and we get the result back as an observable, which we can then consume in our component using the async pike, all right? Or we can subscribe to it. But there is also another way that we can do it. So that is when we use the service as a data storage. So when we use the service as a data store, it does not only return back the data, it actually stores the data as well. So it fetches the data from the API endpoint and it stores it in the store for reusability. So in effect, the data or the resource would be in the service and contained in the service, so that we can get the data in multiple places in our app whenever we need it. Okay. So these are the two types of patterns. Depending on the use case, you can use any of the patterns that you would want in your application. So in this video, I'm going to show you both of these approaches step by step so that you can implement it with the HTTP resource. And of course, we are going to do it with the books detail example here. But before we move on, I just want to make a shameless plug to my Angular starter kit template. And since we're talking about signals and the resources and all of the latest Angular best practices, I wanted to show you my Angular starter kit. For those who aren't aware, I built this starter kit a few months ago. And if you look on the web for Angular starter templates, what you're going to notice is that very few of them actually are signal ready. That means they have implemented signals from the ground up, okay? They use outdated techniques, they use custom properties, they use the old change detection patterns, but not my Angular starter template. So I built this dashboard and then I built it into a more complete sort of template so that you can use it in your own projects. And it uses signals from the ground up. It uses all of the latest Angular best practices. It has a dark mode with it. And the really shining feature here is the use of this dashboard, which is not a very simple dashboard. So you can drag drop your widgets here. You can allow your user to do that. And you can also edit these widgets and you can resize them to suit your need. And you can put this here and it's all going to automatically readjust and realign itself according to the layout. You can also delete this if you would like. So if you don't like a widget. So this is sort of a customizable widget experience that you can provide to your user. Of course, if you don't want to use this, you can also disable this if you would like to. And you have a nice form example here. You have some component content here. You have a nice different types of buttons here. So you have a lot going for in this starter template. It's all updated to Angular version 20. It has Tailwind CSS. It has a nice login screen for your login flow and a lot more. So if you're interested in the starter kit, you're starting on a project in Angular and you just want to get started with some basic code to get you working and a good structure of the application, you can go for this Angular starter template. And if you click on purchase now in this, you can now be redirected to my revamped Angular website, which I've created for storing all of my tutorials and my products that I launch on my YouTube channel. So you have this Angular dashboard premium template code shop page and you can get this, or you can also go in my free tutorials and you can see all of my free tutorials here in a nice sort of central location where you can actually select any of the videos of a whole series and you can watch all of them all at once. making it more useful for you. Okay, but enough of my website. Let's go on with the video. Okay, so let's first start by doing the first one, the simplest case. And that case is the data access layer, as I told here. And this I've seen in most of the applications. So this is a very common use case. So we already have a book details service here. You can see we have injected it here. The simplest case would be to actually create a function here. And we are going to call this get book detail. Okay. Now, we want to make this reactive. So what we're going to do is that we are going to send in the book ID, but it's going to be a signal. Okay. It can be a string. It can be undefined. I'm just going to disable the cursor tab because it's not really good for learning purposes. So we take a book ID as a signal, which can be a string, or it could be initially, it could be undefined as well. So we're just going to define it like that. And then the same HTTP resource that we have here, we can now shift it to the service. Okay. So let's copy this here from here and do return HTTP resource here. Okay. As you can see here that we are also testing the book ID signal here to see if there is a value. Now, why we do this is because initially signals have an undefined value, or you can give it an initial value. So when it gives an undefined value, the HTTP resource gets called with that undefined value. We don't want that. So in order to avoid that, what we do is we check for the signal value. If it's undefined, then we just return undefined in the HTTP resource, which results in no API call being made. So that's exactly what we want. Okay. So here then, though, we don't have this .book ID, we have just the book ID. So we're going to remove this from here, and we're going to remove this from here as well. The other things we don't actually need to change at all. Okay. So we have a function here, get book detail. Now remember, the HTTP resource or any resource, whenever it is declared or created, it is automatically, okay. So it's not like an observable to which you have to subscribe. So whenever we call the get book detail, it is going to call the API as well, depending on the value that the book ID has, the signal has. Okay. So if it's an undefined value, it's not going to do it. But whenever the signal value changes, it's going to refetch the HTTP resource. So this is going to be reactive as we want it to be. Okay. So if we go back to the book detail now, we can, instead of the HTTP resource, we can do this .book detail service, get book detail, and we can just send the book ID signal here, not the value. So don't do this. We need to do this because we need to also handle the changes to the signal value. Okay. You can't do it if you are just sending a single value. Okay. So this looks nice and this should work, but we can also shorten this further. So we can do inject book detail service, and we can do this directly here as well. We can just remove this from here. So great. You can see that it's now just a 2-line component for us. Very simple. And we have encapsulated our URL and everything related to the API calls in the get book detail. And the great thing about this is that now all of our functionality related to this resource, this book detail, is now encapsulated in this function here. And we can get the error state of this. We can check the error state here, or we can show the error state here. We're already showing the is loading state here. So everything we can show on the template just by using this book detail, which is a type of HTTP resource reference. Okay. So let's save this and let's test this out and let's see whether this works. So we have our beginning AngularJS here like this because it was loaded here. The input signal was this. And you can see that we don't have any undefined call here. So it waits for the book ID value to actually become a non-undefined value or some value, valid value, and then it sends the API call because of our check that we have added there. And now if we search for Angular here, for example, and we select beginning AngularJS, again, we selected the same thing, export Angular, you can see that it gets an API call and the functionality remains the same. Okay, so this was the simplest way that you can do it. And the great thing is, when is this being called? Whenever this function is being called, the resource is being created, and that happens whenever the component is initialized. It does not happen before that, even though the service that we have here is provided in root, which means that this is created as soon as the Angular application starts or bootstraps. Okay, so let's look at the second case, and that is the use of a data store. So in order to create a service like this, there is a bit more work involved. The reason is because we want to shift then the HTTP resource to be declared inside the book detail service, not merely created on just a function call. Why would you need such a service? Well, for example, if you have just a central place where you're fetching all of the data and you don't want to refetch the data again and again. You just fetch it once time. For example, the initial login data, you don't want it to get fetched again and again whenever it's used in your application. So let's assume that your book detail data was being used in multiple places on this component or in multiple components on your page, and you don't want to fetch it again and again. Well, in this case, if you use this way, it's going to get fetched again and again because there will be a new HTTP resource for every function call which you make in every component. Okay. Now this fits the bill when you want to actually do that, because in most cases that's fine. But in a lot of cases you want to keep your data in some central location so that you can reuse it in different places in your app. So in that case, then this doesn't work. So in that case, what do you do? Well, we have to create a book detail resource here. So we are going to declare a book detail resource here, and we're going to say HTTP resource, something like this. Okay. Now this book ID then we also need here. So what we'll have to do is we'll also have to shift all of the dependencies for this resource to this service as well. Okay. So let's say that we do book ID is equals to a new signal. We're going to create a new writable signal here. It can be string or it could be undefined here. All right. And initially we're going to say that, okay, is undefined because there's no value. Okay. And then we can keep it this dot book ID here like this. Okay. Again, this dot book ID here like this. Okay. Now again, we have this check for undefined here. So initially, even though the book detail resource is going to get created in this service whenever this initializes, which is on the startup of the app, or in case of a lazy loaded route, the first route in which this service is used, but still it's not going to call the API. It's going to wait for the book ID to get some real value, non-undefined value. Okay. So we can then remove this get book detail from here. We don't need this anymore. So we have your resource, we have all of its dependencies here, but we also need another function to basically set this book ID, because we have to set this from the component then. Okay, so we're gonna create a function called set book ID here. And let's say that we send a value here. We can't send the signal because the signal there is something else. And the signal here is a different signal. We have to use this value and set this value because this is contained in the book details service. Okay. So we're going to do set book signal ID, set book ID here, and then we're going to do this dot book ID dot set, and we can do the book ID here, right? Great. So we have everything that we need in the book details service, except for one more thing. So we also need to return back the book detail resource. It's a good practice to actually keep this private, and then we can do maybe a book detail here like this, and we can do this dot book detail service resource, but as read only, so that we can get this book detail as a safe way to access this, and we can't change anything in the resource, because usually when you use this pattern, we don't actually want to change anything in the service except by using any function of that service as well. We encapsulate all of the functionality there. Okay. So now we're getting an error in the book detail component because we have removed some stuff here. Yeah, so what we need to do here is we will need to set the book ID whenever this input signal is changed. And for that, what we'll need is that we will need the ng on changes hook, because that is the only reliable hook that we can use. Of course, you can use other roundabout ways as well. So we can convert this book ID into an observable, and we can then call the set function in that subscribe. But we want to avoid RxJs and we want to avoid subscribing explicit subscriptions in the component. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the simple ng on changes, okay, in which we know that the input will change, and we can just do this we also need to inject the book details service here. So we're going to do inject book details service here, okay, and we can do book details service dot set book ID, and we can do this dot book ID and its value, current value. Okay. So now whenever this hook is gonna call, when the book ID changes, it's going to use the new signal value to this. Now this is the current way that we have to do, because there's no inbuilt way of doing this. But if you're using the NGRX signal store or the NGRX component store, they have a very nice RX method and also a signal method. If you go to their documentation here, NGRX signals, you can see that we have a signal method here. So this method will take in a signal, not the value, and is going to get called whenever the signal's value changes. So you can also use that if you're using the NGRX signal store. I personally always use the RX method, but I can also try using the signal method in some cases if I want to. So you just define a method here like this, and then you can set the state within the NGRX signal store by using patch state. which is the normal way of doing that. Okay, so this makes that code a bit simpler. But in essence, what you want to do is that you want to link this input signal to the input signal within the book details service so that they are completely synced, okay, synchronized. Okay, so let's try to save this. But before that, we also need to see we have this book detail. So yeah, we also need to get the book detail here, and we also need to bind it to the book detail service book detail. Book detail. Okay, so this is a resource that we need to, which is set in the service. Okay, great. So we set the book ID here whenever it changes, and we get the book detail, and it's going to automatically show up in the template. Let's do React this time. So if we do React, we get all of these books. We click on one. Yes, so everything works as it should. Okay, great. So just a bit more code than we would require there. And if you're using the NGRX signal store, it's going to become even simpler in that case. But you do need this synchronization bit to actually get this store to work. But the end result is that you have your service now, and it is your store. So you can now use this book detail resource in multiple places as well if you would like to use in different components. And you can refetch them whenever you want them using the set book ID. You can change the book ID, you can refresh that data whenever you want it. Okay, so these were two patterns that you can follow in your own apps if you're using the HTTP resource. And I hope that this was a nice primer into how you can get started on using the HTTP resource. If you'd like me to cover more things on the channel related to signals or to the HTTP resource or to other kinds of resources, do let me know, and I'll be happy to plan it out for you. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time with another interesting video.